Good evening. Welcome to this like a coffee shop. Grab your coffee, your tea, your water, your soda. Have a seat and let's settle in. Hello, Miss Devon. How are you? Hey, Techie. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good now that I got my glasses replaced. For those of you who don't know, I managed to break 2 pairs of glasses in 2 weeks. So yay, I am art.
Was that a record for you?
That's just, it was like a weird lightning strike from hell. Because I haven't broken many glasses over the years.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, to not only break 1 pair but 2.
Right.
I did the IMAR 2-pair deal last time I got glasses, which was about a month from now last year. So
Right.
about 11 months ago. And yeah, so part of that whole deal is supposed to be this cool concept that, like, always have a spare. And that failed.
Well, not only that felt, but what I found more interesting is they didn't give you one bit of problem. They're just like,
Oh no, it was great. It was great.
hello, Miss Brenda.
I don't know if part of that was also the fact that the frame had been discontinued, and if that was kind of why, as they were failing.
Right.
But yeah, it was. I mean, both of them were just like twig snap break,
Right.
and it was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like the
Yeah.
first pair breaks, and it's like, oh, that's unfortunate. The second pair breaks because they were identical, different color, identical frames.
Right.
So, but the second one snapped, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Right. And what got me was they snapped it where I would think would be molding points.
Possibly, I don't know if there was like an air bubble or the material or what it was, but yeah, 1 pair broke just past the bridge, and the other pair broke like here on the side. So it was just like snap. Like I went to adjust my glasses and snap.
Right.
And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Yeah,
So.
but that's got to be a moment for you. And what I mean by that is we all grew up in the age when glasses are so fucking expensive.
Well, yeah.
And then so, they're so expensive and you just broke them. And it's like,
What do I do now? Yeah, and part of it was that. Part of it was like, I can't even be mad at myself. It wasn't like I did anything.
Right.
I mean, I've had 1 pair I had 1 pair that was supposed to be indestructible, so I had gotten really cavalier with them and broke them because I was frustrated at work, and I just kind of tossed them on the desk, and the nose piece broke. Apparently, that part wasn't indestructible. They were the flexi metal frames. They were supposed to rebound and all that. Yeah, apparently the bridge wasn't. The rest of the frame would rebound, but the bridge won't. And couldn't be fixed. The frame also discontinued and didn't have. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I didn't really go through that. Like, I had 1 pair that someone else broke.
Right.
When I was a kid, but all my other glasses made it through.
Okay. Because I'm sorry, I think I would still, and I still do when I get frustrated and throw my glasses off. Hear, Mama Knight's voice in the back of my head. You break those, and I'm going to kill you.
Fair. But no, I had another pair that side notes on, rollator walkers, be careful how you pick them up. Because I picked up a rollator walker and it flew open and smacked me in the face, broke my glasses.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been wearing glasses since I was 12.
Uh-huh.
So in 30 years, I've broke like now 5 pair.
Okay.
And that's if you count the pair that Gizmo ate.
Right.
So, I mean, it's not a common occurrence.
Right.
But yeah, there was that whole moment of like, oh, how bad is this going to be? How expensive is this going to be? Like, my one lens is usually a special order most places because it's over 5,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a 6, and or a -6, and I'm just sitting there like, this is going to be like 2 weeks, and because they're not going to have my frame or my lens in stock, and
Right.
then they're going to want more money for the frames, and or to want me to replace the lenses. Like, we cover the frames, but
Right.
it's the lens, but you just have to buy the lenses. There's a deductible, something. No.
No.
So massive kudos, free plug for iMart. They rock.
They are Aeson
Awesome.
approved.
They're very Aeson approved. They're very Joe approved. I mean, and weren't that expensive to begin with. Like, that's
No.
why we went there.
Yeah.
Because like I don't buy fashion frames or like really expensive frames. Um, like, I'm just like,
Well, you were getting into the fashion frame industry, and I'm like, no.
what do you
You
mean?
don't need those clear half moon shaped lenses.
Well, no, again, that was still in the value.
Yeah.
Like, I had, and it was actually the rollator walker that destroyed them. I had my like $200 frame moment and transition lenses. Like, I did the whole
Right.
thing on one pair. That I just did all the things. Like, it was the best lenses, the best frames, the
Mm-hmm.
all. Um, and it really wasn't all that great. Like, I'm glad I had the experience, and once I had the experience, it
Right.
was out of my system.
Yeah.
Like, nope, we're not paying for the whiz bang. Um, like, it was
I like the titanium frames. I've always liked the frames that you could, like, if they get bumped, like, I'm too fucking clumsy. If they get blumped or whatever, they'll bend or whatever, they'll pop back.
yeah. Well, the flexi frames, the
Mm-hmm.
titanium ones just resist. So this is
Yeah.
pair 2. Yeah, for those
Yes.
who are watching, this is pair 2. I picked. They replaced both pair today. Um,
Uh-huh.
so I had, because they were discontinued, I had to pick 2 new frames. So I went big and little.
Yeah. We like the littler ones.
You like the littler one. Everyone's liking the littler one so far.
Yes. Like, those
But,
are the Joe glasses. Like, these, I don't know. They don't even look like your grandfather's.
well, see, I kind of got addicted with the previous pair.
Uh-huh.
And from past experience, I don't really love wearing bigger frames out and like trying to have a whole day with them. But
Right.
really nice when you're working.
Right.
Like, they're really super nice to have the bigger field of view before you hit the limits of the frame.
Right.
So
That's understandable.
yeah, those are like the working glasses. These
Yeah.
become the Joe wears and Joe does stuff
Yes.
glasses. And
Yes.
yeah, and I still got my contacts, so that's how I made it there today.
Yeah. That's the preferred. We haven't gotten you up to 24/7 on them yet.
Well, never supposed to be 24/7 in contacts.
I know.
Like, and I found over time, like 18/7 is usually a max out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, Devin also has prescription safety glasses to go in addition to their Harley Davidson frames. That's cool.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, Harley Davidson oddly makes for some really nice glasses.
They have. I had sunglasses, and I loved them by Harley. Those were my infamous mirror sunglasses that could take everything. So I may look at them when I get new glasses. The problem is I have to have certain. It's like it has to be a specific type of glass, or I'm not interested. Like I don't do plastic frames. Forget it. Not interested.
Oh yeah, you're back. Well, and you're back to your metals. You've had some
Yeah.
non-prescription readers,
Right.
Because keep in mind, he can drive a car without his glasses.
I can do a lot of like the only thing I cannot do is read.
Right. Whereas I can't do anything without mine. Like
Right.
getting out of bed is dodgy.
It's questionable.
Yeah, it's like, do I really
Yeah.
want to do this without my glasses? So yeah, when a pair gets broken, it's kind of like, well, there went my eyes.
Right.
But again,
for me, it's like, well, crap, I'm not reading anything for the next week. And it takes me about a week, and I technically can adjust to them to where I can read without them, but it's gotten worse. And
welcome to being over 40. It sucks. Well,
but
now
what I mean, right? But what I mean by that is I've adapted to having glasses on, and it's just easier for me to have them on all the time because I'm always reading something. Um, but it's gotten worse over time. Like now, since I got these glasses, I can't read the freaking small print on shit. I am like, read this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something tells me you're headed towards the bifocals.
Honey, I'm already in trifocal.
No, you're not. You have single.
Yeah. No, I'm supposed to have a tri.
Oh, you're supposed to have a tri.
Yeah.
See that extra wording there? That makes a difference. I'm like, the hell you have trifocals.
Yeah.
Like I know what we paid for. It wasn't trifocals.
Right.
Because it's a more expensive lens.
Right.
And it's like no.
Right.
Oh wow! So Brenda's eyes have gotten better her last 2 appointments, but she goes without unless I leave the house or watch TV. As in, should be wearing.
Right.
Yeah, no, I haven't had that luxury. I was actually when I moved back to the state of West Virginia, I found out I really have to have them because I had the glasses endorsement thing on my license. And and they were like, "Do you actually need your glasses?" Like they were kind of like double checking everything because apparently, like I don't know, they didn't like my North Carolina license. And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, "Well, do the test without the glasses real quick." So she asked me to do the little binocular thing, and she was like, "Well, okay, start reading the signs left to right." And I was like, I see a bright white light. And she's like, okay, so you're going to need your glasses. Like,
right.
That's valid. That's valid.
Right.
Putting the E back on your license there.
Right. So. And so, for me, I don't think it's on there. Like I can drive, I work out in the yard all the time without them. I'm getting to where I take them off at the gym because it's beginning to get annoying at the gym with glasses on. Okay. So we'll see. Like I definitely have to go to the eye doctor within the next few months because I want reevaluated because I've noticed more problems with my glasses than without.
Oh wow. So yeah, it's probably time for new ones.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll see. We'll see. Well, it's become harder for me to become a saint. Dang Vatican.
What now? So the statue weeping blood, visions of the Virgin Mary, Vatican has new advice on supernatural phenomena. The document offers detailed instructions and 6 prudential conclusions for bishops who look into such claims. So, yeah, supernatural events like visions of the Virgin Mary and statues weeping tears of blood have for centuries stirred the faithful and controversy for the Catholic Church. In the age of social media, unverified claims can spread rapidly around the globe. So on Friday, the Vatican's diocese for the doctrine of the faith issued new guidelines radically reforming its process for evaluating faith-based phenomena. The document offers detailed instructions and 6 prudential conclusions for bishops who look into such claims. While incredibly rare, some might allow for devotion, while others will be rejected outright, stressing that such incidents should be assessed very cautiously. In a document replacing rules issued in 1978, the Vatican's doctrinal office said that bishops can completely reject an event as supernatural and take steps to ban or limit worship of fake or controversial phenomena. It is important not to overlook that sometimes the discernment may also deal with problems such as delics, manipulation, damage to the unity of the church, undue financial gain, and serious doctrinal errors that could cause scandals and undermine the credibility of the church, the document says. While it says clear procedures are needed, it also says they are not intended to control or even less stifle the Holy Spirit. Approved earlier this month by Pope Francis, the most favorable of the 6 outcomes would see the church issue a nihil obstat, which means a supernatural event would not be contrary to the faith and Catholics could express devotion to it. While extremely rare, this would leave open the issue of whether the Vatican would formally recognize a phenomenon as supernatural while allowing the pontiff to intervene in the process. But as a rule, the document states that potential conclusions do not include the possibility of declaring that the phenomenon under discernment is of supernatural origin. That is, affirming with moral certainty that it originates from a decision willed by God in a direct way, meaning church authorities will no longer declare whether a vision or stigmata is divinely inspired. Although it acknowledges the rules issued in 1978 were no longer adequate, the document does not say what prompted them to be reviewed. However, Francis has expressed skepticism about supernatural phenomena, particularly more recent events, including the claims of repeated messages from the Virgin Mary to seers at the shrine of in Bosnia-Herzegovina. So yeah.
Yeah. What I find interesting is that they're redoing this now after they're getting more things. More things are occurring at the shrine in Bosnia and Herzegovina of the Virgin Mary. They're like, do we really want to be swifting out what they're saying? You know, because if
well, I was wondering in what sense you mean that. Do you mean in terms of with the easy spread of like video of an event that may or may not be of a supernatural origin? Just pushing that out is like, okay, there's a new holy event. Right. Or do we want to just be like, it's possible that's fake, so let's not call it a miracle.
Right. What I wonder though is if under these new regulations, would the issues of Fatima, and this is where the church has gotten themselves in trouble before, if the issues of Fatima would hold up.
I have no idea. What is that?
All right, so in when did the Fatima occur? Fatima.
Argumentatively, probably not.
Yeah.
Because this looks to tighten a pretty big loophole.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, three kids were out in the field. The Virgin Mary appeared to them a number of times um, in 1917. Um, and it became this big, huge thing in Catholicism. And then again, she appeared in June of 1917. Um, and they gave certain predictions. One of them is still sealed. Like these people have done past, and and it's still sealed.
Well, now this article does go on to say, when confirmed by church authorities, divine signs can lead to a flourishing of the faith, as
Mm-hmm.
was the case for purported apparitions of Mary in the French city of Lourdes and the Portuguese town of Fatima, both of which are incredibly popular pilgrimage destinations.
Right.
But other phenomena have nonetheless become sources of scandal.
Right.
So there's like the founder of Army of Mary, who declared herself the reincarnation of the Mother of Christ. The Vatican excommunicated members of the group based in the Canadian province of Quebec. And then elsewhere in the Philippines, bishops glossed over a 1951 Vatican ruling that purported visions of the Madonna at the Carmelite convent in Lipa, which were said to have been accompanied by a shower of rose petals, had no sign of supernatural character or origin. So, does it necessarily matter that they've changed the rules? Because it looks like at least as recently as 1951, some bishops have gone, meh. We declare a miracle.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. Vatican doesn't agree. Yada, yada, yada.
Right. So again, I think that this really depends on, like, I think they have to hold precedence. And I think the holding precedence is more important than anything else.
This gets a little dicey when you do have an incentive, in a sense, to declare a miracle.
Right. I mean, think about it. Your small town is, dying, and suddenly it becomes the mecca for all Catholic privilege.
It becomes a new pilgrimage destination.
Yes.
Wow, instant economy.
Yeah.
Of course, I do find it kind of like what keeps running through my head is the movie Dogma and Buddy Christ.
That could be interesting.
George Carlin movie, by the way. But yeah, just this whole like trying to rework,
right,
in a sense, commercialize the faith. And it's like,
well, it's been commercialized since the beginning. I mean, that has been its mainstay, is commercialization and profitability. That's the reason they have the amount of land they do now. And no, I'm not hating on Catholics. You can send your hate mail to idon'tcare@aesonknight.com. Yeah. But at the same time, it's looking at these new things and going, okay, so now what is considered a holy miracle? Because right now they're also in the middle of trying to get, sainting John Paul. Is this going to stop the progression of saints? Because they have to perform 3 miracles that are declared church miracles to be sainted.
I mean, definitely slow the saints down.
Right.
I mean, they won't be marching in. They'll be kind of crawling.
Well, normally they're crawling in anyway because they're already dead.
Well, but it's going to be a struggle for 3 miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think you'll see a lot fewer saints at. Like,
right. You know. Again, so, there's some, like, people, have really looked at this and went, oh, they just changed up some, how they're going to deal with some things. No, this has a great impact on their faith. And the faith of those of converts, because that's where a lot of the saints come from. It's like, oh, well, yeah, so, St. Bridget, of course, we'll go with her first. Okay, so we can't stop her from being a goddess. She's obviously doing healings. Well, I guess that makes her a saint. So, it'll be interesting watching. Do what?
But then it comes down to, but is there a different explanation?
Right. But is it, oh, you're seeing the Virgin Mary and you've had how many psychological evaluations? Like, that's what I would have preferred seeing come out of them. Is more declaratory, more focused, more clear on
like
how to handle the visionaries.
Try to explain it in more ways than just, church determination.
Dogma.
Yeah.
Right.
But embrace science, make sure no one's having a stroke.
Right.
And then.
Right. Like, they pioneered psychology.
Mm-hmm.
They've pioneered a lot of science. I really wish I would see more of it coming out of their doctrine.
Absolutely.
Just saying. All right.
Embrace the science.
Speaking of embracing science, Planet 9, we've got more evidence.
Yes, and new evidence for Planet 9 at the fringes of our solar system. So the case is growing that a Neptune-sized planet, Planet 9, hides deep in the outskirts of our solar system. Researchers from Caltech, University Côte d'Azur, and Southwest Research Institute shared a preprint paper on April 17th. In it, they argued that a group of little bodies beyond Neptune bunched together due to Planet 9's gravitational influence. These distant solar system bodies aren't spread equally in their orbit like the rocky boulders of the asteroid belt. Instead, they form clumpy groups. So the researchers think that a larger, more distant object is gravitationally herding them into this pattern. And in fact, that's how Planet 8, Neptune, was discovered. Neptune was yanking on Uranus's orbit. 2 of the 4 authors of the new paper, Konstantin Batkin and Mike Brown of Caltech, are the originators of the theory of Planet 9. In fact, Mike Brown wrote a book about his life and research in the far edges of our solar system, including the reclassification of Pluto. This book is titled How I Killed Pluto and Why It Had It Coming.
Yeah, you didn't clear Pluto. You just thought you did, dumbass. But all right, so let's hear about your new planet.
But these researchers believe there's an object much larger than Pluto farther out in our solar neighborhood. This planet would be the size of 5 Earths, about the size of Neptune, and lie 400 to 800 times farther from the sun than Earth. So, yeah.
I think this will be interesting because this also could explain why we've been experiencing some more larger levels of retrogrades at times. It seems like, why isn't Mercury in retrograde? Everything is acting like Mercury in retrograde, but it isn't. Could be, Planet 9 effect.
Well, possible. There is that. Because we've talked a little bit about this on a previous show.
We have.
That, we went after the god of war with Pluto and killing it.
No, it's the god of death, darling. God of war is Mars.
Killed it. Anyway, god of death, we killed him. And now we're finding a 9th planet. Which is kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
In the sense of did we just have a misprint somewhere or a misunderstanding? Like, did we see Planet 9 before now, and then, oops, someone missed it and saw this other? And well, surely that's what he was talking about.
It's a possibility. It's also a possibility, like in astrology, there are some things that are left over from Arabic astrology. Pars Fortune is one of them. And we've never been able to figure out through the 1900s when we started applying the astrological to the astronomical side of it, what the Par Fortune is. It could be a Planet 9. I think that will be interesting to find out. I think it'll be interesting when the Council of Astrologers, once they reform themselves, sit down and talk about this. Go, okay, what is happening with this? Where is this going? Why is there, what qualities does this planet have?
That's if it's a planet at all.
Yeah.
Because there's a competing theory of that Planet 9 isn't a planet, but instead a black hole. And that would be a whole different situation.
Yes.
So apparently everyone's excited, however, for the Vera Rubin Observatory to help solve the mystery. This is a telescope that will be up and running by the beginning of 2025. So yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be good. Maybe we'll get some answers finally.
Mm-hmm. So very nifty. Possible ninth planet or a black hole.
Or both. A planet that's a black hole.
Well, a planet and a black hole would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because, for two theories, there is a potential we have a ninth planet and there's a black hole.
Right.
So.
And, how does this affect astrology? Because there was a large debate of, okay, Pluto is supposedly no longer a planet. Are we changing it? Nope, it's still a planet. We see the effects of Pluto in the astrological chart. So it is still a planet. And this is one of those places where astrology looks at astronomy and goes, you're an idiot.
There's that. Now, Brenda asked, what about last month's second moon or chunk of the moon? Did we miss a story?
Did we miss something, Brenda? Or are we talking about the Venus appearing in the sky?
Oh. Well, this isn't last month. It's Earth has a second moon for another 300 years at least. That's from Time back in 2021.
Okay, talk to me.
Well, okay. So it's easy to be brand loyal to the moon. We've only got the one after all, unlike Jupiter and Saturn, where you'd have dozens to choose from. Here it's Luna or nada, or not. The fact is there's another sort of kind of moon in the sort of kind of orbit around Earth that was discovered only in 2016. And according to a new study in Nature, we may at last know how it was formed. The quasi-moon, named Kamo'olea, after a Hawaiian word that refers to a moving celestial object, is not much to speak of, measuring less than 50 meters, 164 feet across. It circles the Earth in a repeating corkscrew-like trajectory that brings it no closer than 40 to 100 times the 384,000 kilometer, 239,000 mile distance of our more familiar moon. Its odd flight path is caused by the competing gravitational pulls of the Earth and the Sun, which continually bend and torque the moonlet's motions, preventing it from achieving a more conventional
Orbit.
All right. So, yeah, it's primarily influenced just by the sun's gravity, but this pattern shows up because it's also, but not quite, on an Earth-like orbit. So it's this sort of odd dance, says graduate student Ben Sharkey of the Lunar and Planetary Laboratory at the University of Arizona, the lead author of the paper. None of this means that this moon has to have especially exotic origins. The solar system is littered with asteroids, some of which are captured by the gravity of other planets and become more conventional if fragmentary moons. Others don't orbit other planets in the common way, but fall into line in front of them or behind them and pace them in their orbits around the sun, like the flocks of so-called Trojan asteroids that precede and trail Jupiter. So, yeah. Oh, interesting. I did not know we had a second moon.
Is it a moon or a satellite?
There is that option. Like 50 feet seems really small to start calling it a moon.
Right. That sounds more like a satellite.
Like, I feel like it's going to get demoted.
Well, it may get demoted, but at the same time, it's going to have its own gravitational flow. So therefore, it would have its own astrological flow. But we'd have to, like, if anything, we'd have to see what its reflection is to the Earth. At least in tropical, you would have to monitor its pathway and what occurs within that pathway. So again, something else they need to really look at.
Yeah. So what would the effect of a second baby moon?
Well, then that would be lesser emotions, because our moon in general represents emotions. So a second moon would pry on probably the lower level emotions, hunger. You're going to go with more binary emotions, flightiness. But again, you'd have to see what its elementals. What I mean by that would be like its resulting effect. Like if it is over Istanbul and its resulting effect is instability, then it would be, you'd be looking at its pathway and causing that instability. It's like everyone knows a full moon has a great gravitational effect on the human spirit and the human emotions because everyone goes wackadoodle.
Okay. Well, and yes, and Brenda points out, and it's also in the Time article that I was referring to, that there's a strong indicator it may be a broken chunk of our moon.
That's a strong possibility too.
Yeah.
What I find interesting is, there's some theories of like Lilith and the origins or the emotional pattern of a little space in a chart. It'll be interesting if it keys into the Lilith theory of the hidden moon or the hidden thought.
That literally there's a hidden moon.
Yeah.
Oopsies, we missed one.
Right. Yeah. But, again, a council of astrologers needs to sit down, go back to the math and go, okay, this is, let's call the dark moon, let's just call it a dark moon. The dark moon is in the quadrant of Aries, and we see that when it's in the quadrant of Aries, divorce is higher. Or, female empowerment is higher when it is high, in Pisces. So they would have to break all that down.
Or like it's an intensifier for one place or one geographical area.
Right. Especially with it having a corkscrew ellipsis, which would be different in astrology.
Yeah, it's a very awkward one. Like
Yeah.
it's not really a moon. It's kind of doing a thing.
Right.
It's not like when you think of like the moon over Earth and
Right.
how it moves. It's not that.
Right.
It's not.
Yeah. It's a different view. And again, we still have to, because like the properties of any planet has been documented for centuries. The quarters, the quadrants of the cosmos has been observed and documented for centuries. Aries doesn't get to move around because Aries is within the same time frame all the time. It has the same energetical effects. Like yesterday, we went into the time of Gemini when that's a lot of activity, a lot of bouncing from one project to another. These are the qualities that we have seen occur during this time. That's what gave us the zodiac itself. People born during this time tend to always feel that they have a lost twin. And also, it's been documented that twins are more aptly born during the time of Gemini.
Oh.
Yeah. More useless information stored in Aeson's head.
Well, it's not useless.
Well, it's not. It's not. It'd be great for a trivia game, but it's not great to be like, I don't know. It doesn't tell you how to pay a bill.
Well, it's not necessarily information that has immediate application to one's life.
Exactly.
Like it's not a life skill. But it can be very useful to some people who like, oh, that's why I feel like that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why like Gemini has is the two body sign. Um, the twins. And apt communication and all that. All right, so we're about ready to see a rare lunar event. Speaking of said moon.
Yes. So, yeah, it may reveal Stonehenge's link with the moon. So, to those gathering over the centuries at Stonehenge, the imposing prehistoric monument that has dominated Salisbury Plain in southwest England for some 4,500 years, it was likely clear how the sun could have informed its design. The central axis of the stone circle was, and still is, aligned with the sunrise at midsummer and sunset at midwinter. The stones dramatically framing the rising and setting sun when days were at their longest and shortest. But do Stonehenge and potentially other megalithic monuments around the world also align with the moon? The idea that Stonehenge was linked in some way to the moon gained ground in the 1960s. However, the concept hadn't been systematically explored, said Clive Ruggles, professor emeritus of astroastronomy in the School of Archaeology and Ancient History at the University of Leicester. This summer, archaeologists are using a little-known lunar phenomenon that happens every 18.6 years to investigate as part of their work in understanding why Stonehenge was built. So, like the sun, the moon rises in the east and sets in the west. However, moonrise and moonset move from north to south and back again in the space of a month. The northern and southern extremes also change over a period of about 18 and a half years. The lunar standstill is when the northernmost and southernmost moonrise and moonset are farthest apart. The moonrise changes every day, and if you track this for a month, you'd notice there is a northern and southern limit beyond which the moon never rises or sets, said Fabio Silva, senior lecturer in archaeological modeling at Bournemouth University, via email. If you were to look at these limits over 19 years, you'd notice them change like an accordion. They expand up to a maximum limit, the major lunar standstill, and then start contracting up to a minimum limit, the minor lunar standstill. This major lunar standstill is due to happen in January 2025, but from now until mid-2025, the moon may appear to a casual observer to be unusually low and high in the night sky during the lunar month. So if you're in one of those 19 years, then from time to time you will see the moon rising or setting much further north or south than it does most times. In the years in between, you never see it there. Despite the phenomenon's name, the moon isn't actually standing still during this period, he said. What is standing still is these limits, and the moment of that happening is in January next year. But for about a year either side, if you happen to catch the moon rise at the right time, you're going to see the moon rising exceptionally low in the sky. So, yeah, Stonehenge is made of two types of stone, larger sarin stones and smaller blue stones that form two concentric circles. Ruggles said that Stonehenge's station stones, which form a rectangle around the circle, roughly align with the moon's extreme positions during the lunar standstill. How this lunar alignment was achieved, whether it was by design or its potential purpose, are topics of debate that the team wants to investigate.
About time.
Yeah. So while there are no written documents that shed light on Stonehenge's meaning and significance, archaeologists have long believed its solar alignments were intentional. Such alignments have been identified in many places around the world and would have been relatively easy for ancient builders to identify, given that knowledge of the sun's yearly cycle and its connection to the seasons would have been essential to livelihood. However, it's much more difficult to say whether Stonehenge really has a connection to the lunar standstill. So, yeah, they'll be.
Well, what I wonder with this is because there's a different lunar connection, a different solar connection, because there's a wooden version of it that operates on the spring and fall equinox. It's like a copy that's been turned to that. So with that, I don't know if the blue stones are there, but that would also bring in the vibration there with the blue stones. So it'll be interesting if it hits the points of the blue stones, because then that does make that more of a dual temple, meaning both solar and lunar, which I think that will be the first copy of both a solar and lunar temple. They're normally separate. So add that in. But also looking at the intense gravitational emotions between 2024 and 2025 kind of brings up that intense gravity occurring. If we look at the astrological influence of gravity, that'll mean watching this period will show more of the cycling that we see, and we've seen this in our own media. How many of y'all have been getting hit with those Gen X memes and talking about how Gen X is this way? The lunar cycle is 18.6 years. A generation is 20.
So, yeah, we're kind of seeing a
play out.
Absolutely. I think it'll definitely be interesting to see what they figure out. It looks like that'll be about mid-January. We should hear a little more about that.
Right.
Yeah.
January 2025. It'll be interesting. And I'm going to post this article over to our Patreon because the pictures of the moon looking through Stonehenge is just beautiful.
Oh, it is lovely. It's very cool. Yeah, like they found great images for this.
They did. Like, hopefully they took a good photographer.
Yeah.
So, all right. I hear you may be an asshole this week.
What? All right. Am I the asshole for telling my daughter-in-law, for fuck's sake, I have a life and I'm not going to be cookie cutter grandma, and I will call the police? My son and daughter-in-law have been married for around 7 years at this point. They have 2 kids. All of my children are out of the home and living their lives. My husband and I are still working and will probably retire in 10 to 15 years, around 70. My daughter-in-law, my daughter-in-law and I got along much better before the kids came into the picture. They live 30 minutes away and she is always trying to drop them off. I thought my son was in on this, but no. I sat them down when this was happening. I showed the many texts asking for me to babysit, and he was under the impression that I've only babysat twice this month, not 16 times. Apparently, she has been dropping them off with me to hang out with people, and my son was under the impression she was taking them with her. I started to communicate in a group chat with them so everyone was on the same page. I only respond to her in the group chat, and if she starts to spam me with texts about how I throw a screenshot in the group chat and have my son deal with it. We have talked, and it comes down to her wanting her kids to have the same relationship she had with her grandparents. In short, I explained that I'm still working and I will not have that relationship. That I can't have the kids every other day, just like she had growing up. We agreed to every 2 weeks to have a grandma day. All good for about a year. My son is now traveling for work and she is at it again. The time difference makes it hard to have him shut it down when it happens. I was home for about an hour when she showed up at my house. She wanted me to babysit when she went shopping. I had enough at this point. I told her, for fuck's sake, I have a life of my own, that I will not be the cookie cutter grandma she wants, and if she tries to leave the kids with me from now on without my agreement, then I will call the police for abandonment. She called me a jerk and stormed off. My son called, trying to smooth it over and saying I may have gone too far. Edit, for everyone going on about how he couldn't know, doesn't he talk to his kids? The kids were 4 months and a year and 3/4 years old when she kept dropping them off. They weren't really talking. The oldest sure could move, but not a big talker. It really hit off when she was pregnant and got even worse when the second one was born.
I don't think that you're an asshole. I think that they're taking advantage of what they assumed was the automatic babysitter.
I think the daughter-in-law is definitely trying to take advantage of her mother-in-law as built-in babysitter.
Well, my other question is where's the other mother-in-law?
Good question. And I would assume that would be the other 16 days or 14 days or however many days are in that particular month. I feel like it's just this back and forth. I mean, I know there's no month with 32 days, but you get my point, is that like every other day she's swapping them off. Her mother doesn't care and is like, oh, I'll be grandma. I think maybe her mother-in-law is the one that's going, no.
Right.
No, we're not doing this. This is not, like, I love my grandkids, enjoy seeing my grandkids, love spending time with my grandkids, but call first.
Right.
Like, let me have a decision in this. Don't just expect to drop your kids off here anytime you feel like it. Like, not how that works. Is it an emergency? Like, grandma will make room. But otherwise, you need to actually ask her. So I'm going to go not the asshole.
Right. Furthermore, this mother already has childcare. They're in daycare 4 to 5 days a week.
Oh, good God. So literally she has the kids. She doesn't want kids, is what I'm hearing. Like, as much as, like, she's like, oh, I want them to have the grandma experience I had. Did your mother also hate children? Like, maybe your mom isn't watching the kids. Because, I don't know. I'm kind of going a few different places because that sounds more like you just don't want kids. Like you're handing them off.
Because I always go and check the commenters post. And her family is farther away, like 3 to 5 hours away, depending on which one. She definitely has support. They have childcare when she goes to work. That gives her about 2 hours of free time before she needs to pick them up. She has a friend. She has friends with both sides that enjoy kids. Hell, even my daughter has helped out before. Not to mention other adult parents that have to switch days to give parents a break. My son is also an active parent, and I know for a fact that he will come back and take them out. So his wife has a whole day break.
Like she's got all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, it just really sounds like the idea, like you need a nanny.
Right.
Like you don't need a nana, you need a nanny.
Right.
Like you've mispronounced.
Right.
Because I'm sorry, this is getting extreme.
Right.
Like she has daycare with extra time. She has a spouse that'll gladly take the kids out and give her time. She has other adults other than grandma. Like
Yeah, like when are these kids at home?
I know, that's why I was asking. I'm like, do you want kids?
Yeah.
Like, if not, stop having them.
Right.
You don't like either baby, like infant, early toddler to like, that's not her thing. And there are parents that just, which does happen. There are baby parents. There are, like school age kid parents. There are teenage parents. There are adult parents. And I get that, but it's like, I mean, you got all the things.
Like, I'm sorry, if we had children with that much support, when would they be at home?
I mean, argumentatively, yeah. Like, it sounds like she's still living a single life and just using everyone else to take care of her kids.
Right.
It's like I'll pawn them off here and pick them up from there and hand them off here and pick them up from there and hand them off here. What the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how that works.
Right.
Like, that's not how that works.
Not only is that not how it works, what's going on with the children? They're not getting any time with their mother. Now, granted, I'll give them the father is away right now. Looks to be only for about 2 to 3 weeks on a project.
In a different time zone, and it's kind of harshing the, like, come get your wife.
Right.
Like, I mean, seriously, that's where grandma's at, is come get your wife.
Right.
Like, this isn't how this is going to work. This isn't my household. This isn't, this isn't what we're doing. I have to go with not the asshole. I don't even think I can be mad about how she phrased it, because nothing else seems to be working. And she's taking full advantage of husbands in a different time zone to just
check out.
Mm-hmm.
So vote is she an asshole for telling the daughter-in-law that she'll call the cops if she just drops the kids off for no reason again? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, the police. Well, I guess that's sort of where that has to start, but I mean,
because she's already called the husband. She's already, she's doing everything she can to work it out with her son.
I mean, I'm just really struggling with the idea of, like, how does she want to even keep up with where the hell are her kids?
Right.
Because it sounds like it's past the football. And two, how do you even enjoy the time that you have without them?
Right.
Because it sounds like all you could possibly be getting done is running to drop them off and running back.
All right, so he's frozen for a moment. He'll be back. But no, it's like
Back to pick
you
them
drop
up.
them off for 4 hours. Welcome back.
Yeah, I'm here. But no, I mean, it just sounds like, unless these are really extended breaks, but even then, how do you enjoy that time? Because it sounds like, one, how do you even know where your kids are? But two, how do you really enjoy that time? Because it sounds like all you get done is going to work and driving these kids around to pawn them off on the next person.
Right.
Like, you leave in the morning, you drop these kids off at daycare, you go to work, you get off of work, you already have some time, you then have to go pick the kids up from daycare, then you shoot over to like grandma's or friends or sister-in-law's or somewhere to drop the kids off again. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. All right. So let's say they're in daycare from 8 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
You pick them up at 5. You drop them off at grandma's. You pick them up at 9. You take them home. You put them to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You get up and you repeat it. I mean, you're not getting any mothering time with these children.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it. I mean, unless it's like Saturday and Sunday, like somewhere in there.
Right.
Like, I mean, 16 times in a month, we don't know exactly which days of the week it is. It sounds like every other day. But, there's 20 working days in the month, roughly.
Right.
And then your weekends, like, that's the only time you want to spend with your kids? Like, I don't get it.
Right.
So there's a question posed here. Shannon says, also, I have a question. Did she have kids because she wanted them, or because she was pressured by family or in-laws?
Good question.
Because I mean, Brenda's even like, all moms deserve breaks, but that's a lot of breaks.
Exactly. And that's more resources than most mothers have.
Yeah. Like, there's some moms out there that read this and I'm sure want to beat the daughter-in-law's ass.
Right.
Like, to dream of that many breaks.
Right. And I think that there's a lot of moms that would go freaking crazy. Like, what do you mean my kid isn't here?
So Shannon says, my cousin has kids because their mom kept demanding grandbabies.
Right.
One was a single parent for years because it was not a planned pregnancy, but guess who babysat when the kids had shit to do because she demanded grandbabies? My aunt. I told her that's what she got for making demands and pressuring her kids. I have some particularly specific views. I think that's a turnabout of fair play. Like, I will say that. Like, if you force the baby rush onto your kids, you need to put your, grandma time where your mouth is.
Right.
And kind of be ready to step up and make that help. But again, 16 times in a month with daycare. Like, grandma isn't daycare. There's also daycare.
Right.
Like, that seems like a lot.
Right.
Even if you're the one that demanded.
Right.
Like, and got pushy. When you gonna have kids? When you gonna have kids? When you gonna have another kid?
Right.
I think that'd still be a little, like, that's still, like,
Right.
that's a lot. Like, I think we could all agree that's a lot.
Right.
I mean, if, like, there wasn't a daycare option and, like, hi, I have to work.
Yeah.
You wanted the grandbabies.
Time for you to
Figure
buckle
out
up
the
with
daycare.
them.
Like, yeah, you figure out the daycare. You demanded the grandbabies. You drove us crazy with the grandbaby.
Right.
You got the
But
grandbabies.
but this doesn't sound like this is that type of situation. This seems like you guys had the kids because you guys wanted them. Now I'm being forced to raise them. I don't think so. I don't think grandma is the Generation X grandma of go let them drink out of a water hose. Um, it won't kill them.
Well, of course, now we're just talking about grandma for a moment. And Shannon brings up a good point. I told all mine, don't even think about it before they're at least 25 and able to pay for them. Their dad started that, and I told him to shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sometimes it's grandpa who wants grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bring on grandbabies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's consideration for OP is like, what role did your husband play? What role did her parents play? And was she really ready or even wanted the kids in the first place? Just she got pregnant to shut everyone up.
Right. Or if it was a planned pregnancy.
Yeah. I mean, I still don't think that makes it OP's problem per se. Because again, I think 16 times in a month is a lot. Um, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with not the asshole. I think that's a reasonable response given an unreasonable situation. Like you've expressed you don't want this, you can't do this, you're not gonna do this, and now you're to the point that she's taking advantage of the situation
Right.
and basically abandoning her kids for you to watch them.
And in my opinion, like you've already had to call the other spouse in and go, what the hell?
Yeah, you've had to pull your son into this to be like,
Right.
stop.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Shannon's already shared her response. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right. All right. So over to relationship advice.
Yes. For thought we built a perfect relationship. What the fuck? My M41 wife, uh, my male 41 wife, female 37, of 10 years, 12 years together, out of the blue decided she wasn't in love anymore and wants to YOLO it. She is moving out next month. We have a 3-year-old boy. Where to go from here? What am I overlooking? Alrighty, here we go. It's a little bit of a long one, but we'll get started. So, background. We are in the U.S. Call major East Coast city. We own a home, a house, and a car. Income is jointly $200K, split more or less equally. Expenses are divided equally. Both have master's degrees. Political and ethical values are almost exactly aligned across all subjects. We have a normal social circle, somewhat diminished by COVID, with regular interactions, weekly brunches, sports watching, game nights, etc. I'm on great terms with her family. Her mother and brother visit 3 to 4 times a year and stay with us. My parents visit 5 to 6 times a year and stay with us as well. As far as I can tell, she is on good terms with them as well. Both of our parents and relatives are extremely supportive and friendly. Life has been on basically easy mode for the last 5 years, which is ironically one of her complaints. We are just coasting. We are doing great financially, maxing out 401ks and saving for our kids' education. We are both calm and rational. Fight frequency is around 3 times per year and manifests itself as just taking time and space apart for a few days, and everything goes back to normal. There is no yelling or physical violence or any discomfort. It's more of a I need some space to myself right now. Last month, my wife announced she is leaving next month. This came as a complete shock to me. At first, I thought it was a joke, then an attempt to get me to do something. Then the realization she was serious. I have attempted everything I can think of to find an avenue of moving forward together, but all has fallen on deaf ears. Offered counseling, taking time apart, seeing other people romantically, a period of focus on treating each other with special care and affection, etc. Everything has been dismissed without any thought. Furthermore, I'm not getting a further explanation that I'm not in love anymore. Okay, now admittedly, the intensity of the romantic feelings have declined, but I thought this was just the natural cycle of being married. Intense romantic attraction over time transforms into something more stable with age. A form of love where companionship, friendship, non-physical affection taking take an increasingly more prominent role as the relationship ages, and I was okay with it. Until very recently, we still had a healthy sexual life about 10 times per week. I find her attractive, and it came as a complete shock when she announced, seemingly out of nowhere, that she wasn't sexually attracted to me anymore. We had these we had disagreements in the past about the sex frequency and settled on 2.5 hours per week whenever possible of sexy time devoted entirely to us. At some point, she started making jokes about how my sexual drive is supposed to slow down at this point, and maybe I should find a younger woman to satisfy me. I thought this was just playful banter. It is my personal belief that a good relationship is based on the quality of the experiences people have together. Earlier in the relationship, we traveled all across the world, taking a month of vacation per year to exotic places. We ran marathons together, played video games together, cooked together, did yoga together, etc. The nature of our experiences together was always overwhelmingly positive. When we decided to have kids, we came to an agreement that we'd stay together no matter what until they were 18. This is part of the reason I feel betrayed now. I realize it's a stupid thing to agree to, but it made sense at the time. Since she got pregnant, everything changed. Our relationship didn't just not take priority, it fell out of the top 10. Work, childcare, her personal hobbies, her extended family, all of a sudden became more important. I was cognizant of this change and tried to implement special time for us alone together, but was met with lukewarm responses at best. She was dragging her feet on everything, making it seem that usual things like attending a friend's wedding was all of a sudden a great favor she was doing for everyone. I tried my best to suggest things for us to do together, but increasingly got rejected more and more. Fine, I thought this was just a phase. We'll tough it out and recapture the magic as our kid gets older. I should say she has been acting depressed, not enjoying life, complaining about work more and more. One complaint she had since our kid was born was lack of support in childcare. In the first 2 years, our child preferred the company of his mother. I thought this was normal and understandable. We tried multiple times for me to give him baths, get him dressed, but he would always start crying and ask for his mother. Since he became 3, he increasingly wants to spend time with me more and more. So while asking for more help, my wife refused offers for me to make school lunches, get him dressed for school, and walk him to school and back. I'm lost on how to proceed. So goal 1, discover and work towards a future in which we stay together as a family. Goal 2, if goal 1 is not possible, work towards the best possible future for our kid. No, the kid is 3 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they've been together for 12 years. So they did like the 2 years. So they did 2 years, got married, and were together for 7 more years, so 9 years, and then had a child. I mean, take it. I've got a few different thoughts rattling my brain.
Honey, prepare for divorce. Like, you did not see the warning signs when she said she needed X, Y, and Z, and she began deprioritizing the relationship for other things because she wasn't getting any of what she needed. Like, sexy time is nice. That's one part of a relationship. the repetitive other pieces that go into it, you weren't meeting.
Yeah, that's sort of where I'm at. Is like it's almost like he sits here and writes out everything that he heard her say,
Mm-hmm.
and then how he rationalized it away.
Right.
She said this, but I explained to the dumb woman. Is
Mm-hmm.
almost how it reads. Like, and I just get like, was that just me? But it was
Right.
like, it's just how it keeps reading. It's like she said,
Right.
and I didn't think it was serious. I thought she understood. I thought. I thought.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think this is like she's not in love anymore is probably like a weak answer. I'll give it that. But you haven't listened to a damn other thing she said. So
Right.
why would she invest the effort to go back through the coals
Right.
and just I asked for this, I asked for that, I needed this, I wanted that. She's already done it.
Right.
And you made it all go away. You talked her out of it. You changed, like, is really how this reads.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's kind of like you have the answer, think harder.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not a shock. You're
Right.
the only one shocked, and it's because you didn't listen.
Yeah. And haven't listened. When she said, I need this, I need focus, I need attention, I need time. I need time with you, I need time away from you, I need you to pay attention. I
I
need
need you to take the child.
I need you to take the child. And what I find interesting is he doesn't discuss any non-sexual intimacy. He doesn't
Yeah,
discuss
I'll say
any,
sex.
well, it's all sex, but he doesn't talk about their interaction other than it sounds like they're good business partners.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, it's like we tried multiple times for me to give him baths, get him dressed, but he would always start crying and ask for his mother.
And
Weaponized incompetence much?
yeah,
Like, that's how that reads, dude. Well, we
yeah,
tried it a few times, but it didn't work. So obviously the solution was no, it
right,
wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. This was one thing you could do.
right,
The kid is 3.
yeah.
The kid is 2. The kid is 1.
And I don't know a 1-year old that doesn't cry when you're getting them dressed or changing their diaper or feeding them. I don't know of one wife that is just like, oh, well, I'll just go and do the things I always do. And, I'll wash the dishes and plan the dinners and all that. Um, and not feel like, okay, so now that I had a child, you pay no attention to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, dude, she told you everything you needed to know. It's not YOLO. It's get out while you still can.
Yeah. I'm tired of being depressed by you. I'm tired of not feeling appreciated by you. And I'm done. I'm done working on the relationship. I'm done working on the situation. You've gotten multiple red flags. You probably even have gotten emails, texts, and letters saying, you don't touch me like you used to. You don't pay attention to me. You don't tell me, praise me like you used to. You aren't taking the kid. You aren't being active in my life because while we think that, it's great for couples to have independent um, hobbies, there's very little that was shared there other than, oh, we have political and ethical beliefs.
Like, you share the same values, which is great.
Right.
But, it like yeah, there's a lot of problems here.
Yeah.
Um not to say it wasn't. But yeah.
Yeah. And furthermore, who has a time limit? 2.5 hours a week we spend together.
Yeah, it was
What the hell? Yeah.
I mean, it sounded like you're really debating.
Right.
Like, and that's probably not a good thing.
No.
Like, if you have to negotiate your sex life to the level of, like, 1 hour, 2 hours, like, and find the middle ground, it might be a red flag in and of itself.
You're right.
But yeah, it sounds like that wasn't really an attachment. Meanwhile, this whole agreement that you're not going to divorce, but like once you have kids, you're not gonna divorce no matter what. Huh?
Huh?
I'm sorry, that's a cute idea. But you really want to hold her to that? Because it sounded like you got that and just walked away.
Right.
Your work was done.
Right. You checked out.
You sealed the deal with the kid, is what you thought.
Right.
That you can just do nothing for the next 18 years and this relationship is solid. Maybe if you want a few more years of marriage, pop in a couple more kids.
Right.
And then just hope that in 20 years.
Right. She'll be too tired to leave.
Right. Or, in that, like, well, what's the fucking point?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 37 plus another 15 years, 40, 52?
Yep.
Like, are some of y'all still wondering why, like, 50-some-year-old women are unaliving themselves? Because this is the kind of bullshit.
Right.
That if you feel trapped into for the next, 15 years, 18 years, I could definitely see, your kids are gone, it's over, but now what? Now what do you do? 50-some years old, you're going to leave him?
Right. And become the bad guy?
You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be a lot of the feeling that could come up in that. Is it a bad marriage? No. Like, it's not physically abusive. There's no yelling and screaming. There's just nothing.
Right.
I could really start to understand why some 50-something-year-old women are unaliving themselves.
Well, and,
because what do you do now?
Right. And, from the outside, the way I'm sure they have presented their life, everything's fine. But it's not. Because she's not happy. And she's told you multiple times, I'm not happy. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and a good point from Shannon. She didn't want her kid to see her miserable their whole life. Good for her for showing how to advocate for yourself. Absolutely.
Exactly.
There are a lot of people that, whether it's a verbal agreement that you come up with,
mm-hmm.
or feeling so, like, it happens a lot for Catholics, going back to the beginning of the show. There are some strong beliefs that marriage is a one and done. Like, you get married and this is forever. There's no oops button. There's no escaping it. You're in for the long haul. So that decision you make at like 16, 18, 22, whatever age you are, that's a forever. And I think that misses the point that a lot of people try really hard when you can leave.
Right.
When you have the ability to walk out that door. But the minute they feel like the ring's on the finger and you can't exit,
right,
that they can do whatever they want. go wherever they
Or
want,
not.
say whatever they want, ignore you all they want to.
Right. And when people begin, like, the first warning sign should have been when other things are taking precedence over the relationship. That's when it's like, that's a red flag of problems. That's like a huge red flag. When it's like, well, we can spend Saturday night together. No, I'm going out with the girls, but we haven't seen each other all week. I'm going out with the girls. That's when it's Sunday morning. All right, honey, what's going on? What's your issues?
I mean, argumentatively. I mean, I don't want to ever discourage people from having their own hobbies, their own interests, their own
Right.
friends, doing things independently. I'm more weirded out by couples that are like always together, like they're just children of the corn in a marriage.
Well, and I get that, but if I had been on the road for 2 weeks and you had been home,
Okay.
and I come home and the first thing I want to do is go out with, the gang, I think that'd be a little bit bothersome.
I think I would have a minute with it and be like, okay, let's see what comes next.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because I can conceive of a situation where you've got to work, and do a thing, and then it's like, well, but there's this friend's birthday party plan. You know what I mean? Like, I can make that work, but just to be like, oh, I just got home, here's all my dirty laundry.
Right.
I'm headed out now. The
Right.
fuck you are.
Exactly.
Like, that better be, and get in the car. We're going out to eat. We're going to go hang out with people. We're going to go do things.
Right.
I think that just come home, drop off your shit, and run out the front door. I'm going to hope we have now devolved into an abusive relationship, because that's the only way I'm going to be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that happens. That, like, they're like, most of the people that can pull that stuff are typically in abusive relationships, and their partner gladly hears the words, I'm on the road, I'm going out, I'm doing X, blah, 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 you're not invited.
Right.
They hear those words with relief, like, oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Whatever keeps you out of the house.
Right. Right.
So, yeah. So that's a red flag of its head.
Right.
It's not necessarily when you pull that and your partner doesn't care, but it's like, or gets miffed. I think it's truly when your partner gladly encourages you to be as far away from them as humanly possible for as long as possible. That can be its own moment. Like, I joke about take my husband, please, you'll return him. I do joke.
Yeah.
But we live together, we work together, we're pretty much 24/7 in the same house most of the time.
Right.
I joke about it because it's like,
Right.
You can take an Aeson out for the day.
But that's not the same as Aeson going, yeah, so I've been at the Ren Fair for a month. I'm coming home, dropping my clothes off, and then me and the gang are going out to whatever bar, and I'll be back sometime Sunday, and I go back to the Ren Fair on Monday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, you think you do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
Sometimes an accident is an unhappy woman's best friend.
Exactly.
Sometimes, Dolores.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes they leave their mistress's house and their brakes fail. I'm
sometimes
just
the
saying,
only
if
thing
that
you
were
can
the, like, you've been on the road for 2 weeks, you dropped off your dirty laundry and went out for the night, came back and went out again, and then you leave on Monday morning, I'd get real familiar with stopping a car with the emergency brake cable. Or Jolene's brakes fail. Exactly. Like, things
Right.
happen.
All right, so we have some other commentary going on along here.
Oh, and Aeson comes back from the register to what's left of an empty house. Oops, must have been a gas leak. Oh, Brenda, you underestimate me. You don't think I'll take a page from She-Devil? Like, the house is the least of your concerns.
Exactly.
But I will microwave some kitchen cleaner.
Hairspray. That's the reason She Devil can't be done today is because they stopped putting hairspray with enough alcohol in it.
Well, bless your heart, there was everything in that microwave.
Yep.
It was all the things. Idiot.
Yeah.
Plus, you're microwaving aluminum cans. It's going to spark and get kind of real quick.
Mm-hmm. And, but anyhow, so Shannon says, my husband was shocked when I have plans, not with him. He always goes out with his friends. And I was fine with staying at home. Then I got interest in things and I wanted to be involved in. He was confused for a moment.
Yeah.
Yep. But no, dude, prepare for a divorce. You single-handedly missed every warning sign.
Oh, Brenda liked She-Devil. Yes, it was. It was a great movie. I loved it.
Yes. Yep. It was
like,
I'm
good. Not a huge Roseanne Barr fan, but that was a good movie.
I'm a huge early Roseanne Barr fan.
Yeah.
Later Roseanne Barr needed work. It needs a lot of emotional work to handle.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So, let's check the poll.
Am I the asshole? Which we've got a comment to go back to.
So, 67% believe, no, you're not an asshole. Everyone is shitty here, 33%. So it's a nice divided circuit.
I thought we were doing a dill pickle on this one there, Shannon.
Well, maybe Shannon didn't hit the vote.
Well, I'm just saying. Where did it go? There. No, that's not. No, it keeps jumping on me. Oh, Shannon says I said everyone was a dill pickle. I don't think you read a dill pickle. Oh, everyone sucks. Okay, all right, cool. Cool. Yeah, no, because Shannon. Well, anyway, I've lost the comment. But yeah, Shannon was saying that, like, until I get more detail,
yeah,
it's dill pickle.
Right. So I guess she got enough detail to vote for everyone.
Shannon says shitty dill pickle.
Yeah. All right. So let's go back for her to finish the story. You seriously asked if I was cheating, and I barely let you touch me because I have issues with being touched. You seriously think that I'm putting in all that work all over? Laugh out loud. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is one of the common, like, warning signs that, like, people, and I don't necessarily think it's a fair one. Exactly. Is like change in routine, being late from work, going out with new friends. Like, those are all in that, like, things that tell you your spouse is cheating. Like
Right.
it'll always show up in like the magazines. Like how to tell your spouse is cheating with 15 things they're currently doing. I think it can be.
Right.
I don't think it's necessarily healthy to just see any one of those
Right.
and be like, you're cheating.
Right.
This is evidence you're cheating.
Right.
And take them in concert.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're seeing more and more and more of them, then okay, it's time to have the like, what are we doing?
Well, I think it's important to have a what are we doing conversation often, especially when things change, relationships balances change. Um, or you're just unhappy with the situation. Lay it out and go, okay, these are the things that are sucking right now. What do we do to fix those?
And I don't know that you have to expect your spouse to have all the answers.
Right.
I think there's more, or your significant other, rather. I think it's more about, okay, this sucks. What can we do? And then try to brainstorm it. It doesn't mean you solve everything in one night.
Right.
Like, I don't think that's ever an ultimatum you need to give a partner is we're fixing this tonight or today.
Right.
I think it's okay. What can we do to work towards a solution, even if it's
Right.
like that didn't work.
Right.
Like the trying is the
Right. And seeing the trying is important.
yeah. Brenda says, "Pick sign." You get out your tarot cards and hear loudly a paranoid, "Why do you have those out?" That's probably should be a good sign.
Or better yet, you start planting new flowers in the yard, like belladonna. You start letting weeds like foxglove just grow naturally in your front yard.
No.
It is what it is. Alrighty then. So with that, however, and no, I've not planted either. Take it away.
All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Joan Owens, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yep, and I'll be on later for on-demand calls. Remember, it is Psychic Saturday. You do need to book in advance. It is a very tight Psychic Saturday, which means there's even less appointments available. Also, I will be back on Thursday with our lovely Natalie McVickers with a lot to talk about because she's moving up in the psychic industry. So until then, guys, we'll see you later.